The Stranger Things series finale is exactly what my problem is with modern streaming. Now, this is going to contain spoilers for Season 5 of Stranger Things, so if you do not want to be spoiled, click off this video. I'm just going to get straight into spoilers. I'm not going to hold myself back. So I actually think Season 5 started off pretty strong, fell off, and then it was getting back up to where it was at the beginning of the season, and then just completely fell off the cliff. I genuinely feel like Hopper should have died during the season. He should have died early in the season or mid-season as like a mid-season finale type of death, especially with the fake send-off they had. I do not like when shows do fake send-offs like that. Just pay it off, or if you don't pay it off, then pay it off eventually. Don't just have it go nowhere because it feels meaningless. I don't know if that's the right word, but it just doesn't feel right. There was a good amount of cringe in this season too. Like the bullies were also very just cringy, and there was no payoff for it ever. Like they just disappear after they beat the hell out of Dustin. They just run off and are never seen again, which was kind of surprising. I would expect them to get ripped up by like a Demogorgon or something like that, but no, just nothing happens. The doctor was also just very comic book villain, evil, like mustache twirling, although she said she had other intentions, like innocent people are dying, now we have to step in, but we never see any action. We only hear her talk and then disappear. And the plot armor against the main characters is just absolutely ridiculous at this point. Like, I get the characters had to survive, but you can make it less obvious that the characters are nerfed, that the Demogorgons are nerfed in order for the characters to survive. Like, they're going full force. These Demogorgons are going full force to the military, shredding them up in seconds, and then they're hesitating on every main character interaction. And then a full force flamethrower doesn't kill a Demogorgon, but an explosive does, referencing the one in the hospital. But maybe I'm remembering things correctly, but I just don't ever remember Demogorgons going down that easily. Or unless the dogs are different than the Demogorgons, but I thought that they're the same thing. I don't know. It's been a while since I watched the rest of Stranger Things, so maybe I'm getting things mixed up. All I know is that I think the dogs died way too easily. Another thing that kind of bothered me was how they kidnapped the family of the fat kid, Derek, and then nothing is just ever seen again of what happened with the mom, dad, and the sister. Like, they're not out for 2 days straight. Something happened to them, and they're just ignored for the entire rest of the season with, like, no proper closure. I mean, I guess we see Derek, so I guess they're all cool, but still, you figured, like, there'd be some kind of scene where they're like, what happened? Like, these people just kidnapped us. One thing that didn't bother me as much as I think it would is the ages of the actors at this point. I mean, some people have aged worse than others. Like, Nancy looks like she's, like, 35 right now. She did not age that well, the actress for Nancy. That's no dig at her, but just in the show, she looks very old. The kids are supposed to be juniors in high school. They do not look like juniors in high school. They look like they're in their early 20s. But that didn't bother me as much. It takes you a little bit out of it if you actually think about it. And then the whole graduation ceremony takes place 18 months after the main events of the season. But again, if you look at the flashbacks, how young the actors are, and really they're only 4 years apart in season 1 and season 5. So that is very, like, they aged way more than 4 years. They look like they aged 10 years. But again, that wasn't a problem I personally really had with it. Actors grow up. That's the problem with kids actors. That's just something you have to get over. My biggest problem was the finale itself. The boss fight, the ending fight, just felt so underwhelming and so boring. Mind Flayer fight was miles better than this. The fight itself felt like there was no stakes when there really should have been stakes, because there's still an hour left of the episode, and we're only 40 minutes into a 2-hour episode, and the big fight's already happening, so we know that nothing big is really going to happen right now. 11 versus Vecna, it was an okay fight. I mean, nothing really happened. Will gets into Vecna's mind, and then he just falls on a spike eventually when the big vessel gets damaged enough. And when the crew tries to take on the Walker, takes on the Walker, that shouldn't even been a fight. They should have been knocked out within one hit. Like, they should have never even gotten the opportunity to damage it. They should have been killed immediately, but the plot armor was just so strong and so, like, obvious in a way where it's not really that believable. I get it's a TV show, things have to happen for the plot to move forward, but one thing a show needs to do is make it believable, and where it's actually believable for this to happen in universe. But anyway, they take down the Walker. The fight's maybe like 5 minutes long total. Big moment comes after the fight where we think 11 sacrifices herself in order to not be brought back into the hands of the government. After that sacrifice, everybody's just allowed to live their normal lives. The government just packs up and leaves and lets everybody be, which is seems very stupid in universe. You would think they would try to mind wipe them, kill them, or just imprison them because they know so much about what the government has done. They probably have so much evidence against them, and the feds are just going to walk away from it. That's stupid. Then it's just an hour and a half or an hour of goodbyes, which is very annoying. It felt so dragged out. I was getting really bored. Then the bombshell drops, and honestly, I was fooled at first. I thought 11 did sacrifice herself, but it turns out she's still alive. And guess what? She's gonna have a spin-off. We're gonna find out what happens with her in that spin-off. This is my biggest problem with modern TV shows and streaming services. I absolutely cannot stand this, because this is the third time in my memory, at least, that I remember something like this happening, where the main show ends just for the story to be continued in multiple different projects. A recent example this year was Peacemaker Season 2. Season 2 didn't wrap up anything with Peacemaker. Keith is still out there. The huge cliffhanger with Peacemaker himself, and we have to, some of these threads will never get wrapped up, and other ones we just have to wait 1 or 2 years in a project where Peacemaker is a secondary character. And the bigger one, the one that's really bad, is The Walking Dead. The main show ends just to be split up into like 5 different spin-offs, just to have those spin-offs go into one more show. That was completely unnecessary and did not need to happen. We do not need all these spin-offs all the time. It is so annoying, and you have to keep up with all of it, and you have to wait, and then the stories never really wrap up because there's always more spin-offs. And now for Stranger Things, we have the 11th spin-off, and I'm sure there's going to be at least 2 more spin-offs because it's going to make them a lot of money, and then these stories are going to go in 4 different directions, and then in 5-10 years from now, if people are still watching the shows, it's going to go into one more main show for one big finale. And spin-offs aren't always a problem, because like the Squid Game, that makes sense to have spin-offs. It's not centered around a main group of characters. Squid Games is something that takes place around the world, so it makes sense to have spin-offs. When Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead were around, it made sense because they just took place in the same world. They're not characters that we depend on for the story. They're ideas. If you saw the Stranger Things finale in theaters, I would have been so upset and so bored, because honestly I was thinking about maybe, I'll see the finale in theaters. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad it was just an idea and I didn't really put much consideration into it, because I would have been so bored and so upset that I just spent money to see something disappointing on screen. But yeah, that was the season 5. That was the series finale of Stranger Things. You no longer get conclusions to TV shows because there's going to be 10 more spin-offs to follow through. Let me know what you guys thought of Stranger Things series finale. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you not like it? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one.